dreams can become reality. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that this is the story of how I became the world's greatest hero.
Meet the new hotness.
Until I become Hokage, I don't care what happens, I am not gonna die!
Same as the old hotness. Hello and welcome once again to Oldtaku New Tricks, where I have never felt so old watching something for this show. Now, I'm aware that I'm treading dangerously close to old man yells at cloud territory, especially since it's a common thing for people to rant about popular stuff on the internet, but believe me when I say, I really wanted to love My Hero Academia. Oh sure, I was aware that it was shonen, and I don't like shonen for the most part, but everyone I've heard talking about it had nothing but praises for it. And at the very least, I should be aware of what them darn kids are watching these days. So I put it on, and I watched the first season, and it occurred to me. It's just another shonen series. An annoying one.
At this rate, there won't be any enemies left. I'm gonna fail!
Maybe I was a victim of the hype train, but man alive, all I could think about was just how much I've seen this all before. Now, I've never been one to champion originality above all else because, after all, everything has been done before. It's just how you do it that separates what came before. But when it comes to shonen, not only has everything been done before, but that's the entire appeal of it. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm dropping truth bombs on all of you by saying that My Hero Academia is like Naruto. Like, unmistakably like Naruto, because everyone knows it. Hell, manga artist and writer Kohei Horikoshi flat out told everyone that Naruto was a huge inspiration for him. And sure enough, people cotton to MHA because it's like Naruto. Except now it's more accessible because the characters are superheroes, which is way more easily digestible than ninjas, even though they pretty much behave and fight the exact same way. But be that as it may, I already saw Naruto. I don't need to see it again. So then the question becomes, what does the series do to separate it from Naruto? And it got off on the right foot, at least with me. In a world where nearly everyone has a superpower of some kind, poor little Izuku is born without any kind of powers.
People with powers have only one joint in their pinky toes. Their bodies have evolved into a more streamlined version of the human form. You can see here that Izuku has two joints in his pinky, like roughly 20% of the population these days. Based on the research that's available, it's safe to say your son isn't going to develop a quirk.
Okay, that one's pretty cute. You see, the artist for Naruto, Masashi Kishimoto, went on record saying that he loves drawing toes. Why do you think everyone in Naruto wears sandals after all? Still, the setup practically writes itself, and when Izuku has a chance encounter with the greatest hero of all time, the eternally smiling All Might, Might guy, get it? Izuku starts off on his literal hero's journey, which leads him to prestigious UA High School, an academy where young heroes-to-be learn to use their powers, or quirks, for good. But the idea of a kid wanting to be a superhero in a world where nearly everyone has superpowers, and he himself has no powers of his own? That's an interesting idea. How does he achieve his dream? Does he even achieve his dream at all? Or do they wuss out and give him a bullshit power that runs parallel to the world building of the show?
I wasn't born with this power. It's a sacred torch that was passed on to me from someone else.
Someone gave you this quirk? No way.
Yes, Wei. And you're next. I can give you my abilities.
Yup, they went with option C. Now, I suppose because of its genre, they couldn't very well have a protagonist that doesn't go toe-to-toe in explosive fights with villains, even though UA has an entire class full of gadgeteers with no power, so yeah, why couldn't he just use his established knowledge and studious note-taking as his own superpower to become a superhero? To be fair, he does use his note-taking and planning in his fights, but they're all in the service of his newfound superpower. There's an interesting wrinkle in that even though he was bestowed super strength and speed by All Might, who is reaching the end of his superheroing career, and thus he wants to pass down his powers to one he deems worthy, thereby increasing its potency, Izuku's body isn't prepared to withstand the use of such awesome strength, which basically turns him into a glass cannon. Okay, I can jive to a turn like this. He has super strength, but he can't use it. That's interesting. Until I remember the notion of having incredible strength at the cost of your physical well-being was something I've heard before, but for the life of me, I can't remember where. It's like Horikoshi loved Naruto, but wanted Rock Lee to be the main character. And at the end of the day, that's what My Hero Academia is. And on the surface, that sounds alright. I like Rock Lee, and I like the relationship with him and my guy. But the problem is that while Izuku might share the same kind of power foibles as Rock Lee, they don't share the same personality. Sure, they're both far beyond driven, but Rock Lee is way more optimistic, bordering on naive even, whereas Izuku is more doubtful of his place at UA, or even being worthy of All Might's power, all for one. And that has huge ramifications on the story. When Rock Lee learns of his inability to use chakra, he learns the value of working with what he could do and learns the value of hard work. But believing in those values can be tested, and when he comes face to face with the fact that sometimes there are going to be people that are better than you, his worldview and beliefs are challenged, which forces him to grow. Whereas Izuku, well, he learns, but it's not the same lesson.
I used to believe that if I just trained harder than Neji, 2 or 3 times harder, I would make myself strong enough. But now, I am not so sure. I do not know if I will ever be able to work hard enough to beat real talent.
I still can't control my power, but I can't just give up either. Do I let the egg explode? It might be my only shot at staying at UA. I have to try something, no matter what the consequences!
They're both endearing, yes, but there's a world of difference between learning I might be strong because of my work ethic, but if I want to be the best, I gotta train harder, and I might be strong because I chanced into it, but I better learn to use my strength without hurting myself. One is universal and easily applicable to everyday life and compelling, and the other is not. Not only that, but Izuku's character is kind of, well, he's annoying. He's portrayed as this propeller-headed nerd who is single-minded in his studies.
Powers are supposed to be unique to each individual. I mean, since the first superpowers, no one's ever been able to just give someone else their power like a present. That's crazy. If this is true, it would cause us to rethink everything we know about quirks to begin with.
Sounds like you're overthinking this whole inheriting thing. Stop nerding out!
But he's also a dork who can't really keep his shit together under stress and constantly blubbers and blithers about being a hero or being under stress, to the point where it's kind of lampshaded.
But in all honesty, I also thought your selflessness could be your weakness. Turns out I was worried over nothing. You are a fighter. Still, maybe cool it with the waterworks.
While these kinds of characteristics are realistic for a kid in over his head like Izuku is, it's not exactly very appealing, especially if we're supposed to be following this character for 50 plus episodes. The whole story is framed as his rise to being the greatest hero of all time, so I know that he won't be like this for the entire run, but that doesn't stop him from being annoying. Likewise, the other shonen archetype characters, the angry rival, the emo rival, the bubbly love interest, the infuriating comic relief. Seriously? Fuck this little turd nugget. I hate everything about him! Ugh. Anyway, all of these characters couldn't get me to care about what was happening, and when the big baddies began to make noise, I knew for a fact that my interest in the show was down for the count. I mean, the villains are, at the very least, striking. In fact, I will give MHA credit in having distinctive and sometimes downright inspired visuals and character design. But out of the gate, their introduction fell flat on their face.
You think you can get away with being as violent as you want if you say it's for the sake of others. Well, you know what, All Might? That pisses me off. Why do people get to decide that some violent acts are heroic and others are villainous? Casting judgment as to what's good and what's evil.
I'm sorry, but if you're gonna try to use the old chestnut, from my point of view, the Jedis are evil! Maybe don't call yourselves the League of Villains? However, the first season was only 13 episodes, and no one shonen series was at its best at the beginning, so I watched the second season. Because I'm a stupid, stupid idiot. How does the second season start? Tournament arc! Oh, fuck me running. Oh, joyous days, my eyes have seen the glory that is the tournament arc. Be prepared to see the same characters in the same location fight each other in a mindless procession that has no bearing on the overall plot for 10 straight episodes. Why not just punch me in the dick, show? And right there in a nutshell is my biggest problem with My Hero Academia. Every time it has a chance to veer left towards something unexplored and unexpected in the shonen genre, it jerks the wheel right. Like I said, there's a good setup here and fertile ground to explore if we must constrain ourselves into a coming-of-age story. But time and time again, we keep coming back to the well, sometimes more directly than other times, but always with the effect of maintaining the status quo. And it's not like there isn't anything about the show that I like, because there is. I do like All Might and Izuku's relationship, mainly because I like Might Guy and Rock Lee's relationship. And I like how All Might has development and moments as being a near the end of his career hero, having burnt the candle at both ends. In fact, if the show were just about these two as teacher and pupil in their journey towards understanding, using, and then passing on one for all, I'd still be watching the show. But with the school route, it's just reduced to standard shonen fodder. I also like Izuku and his mother's relationship, as it's cute and endearing and gives Izuku some much needed pathos. But sadly, these aspects weren't enough to keep me watching the show. I gave My Hero Academia as much as I could, and I was just left disappointed. But enough from me. What do you guys think of My Hero Academia?